Longmen Caves from Luoyang, China, made during the Tang Dynasty, 493 to 1127 CE, out of limestone. There are 3 images for this set. This is connected, just like the Bamiyan Valley Buddha, to the Silk Road. As merchants and Buddhist monks traveled on the Silk Road, they brought religion with them. And as they moved east, kind of the Buddhist faith adapted to convert more people and to satisfy the needs of more people into 2 different types of Buddhism or branches. One is Theravada and the other is Mahayana. And you can see the yellow here is where Mahayana Buddhism is more popular. Mahayana Buddhism is what we see in this Longmen Caves art piece, because you see the central Buddha here, 55-foot statue, is flanked by, on each side, by other statues of important looking people. And these are bodhisattvas. A bodhisattva is like an angel in the Christian faith. A bodhisattva would be some person who has made it to enlightenment and could go on to nirvana and just leave this earthly world, but they've decided to postpone going to nirvana and instead are going to stay back and help others reach enlightenment. So they're kind of like saints, but I think angels is a great comparison too. This is the bigger picture of the Longmen Caves here in this valley. It's about a mile long corridor where people, Buddhist monks, lived and where people engaged in building these structures. Now, it would have been wealthy people, generals, religious groups that would have funded the sculpture and carving that went on here. And they would have hoped that by funding this, they could get themselves positioned to reach enlightenment more easily. One of the high families that was engaged in funding this was Empress Wu here. Empress Wu was a concubine in the Emperor Taizong's court. And we think Emperor Taizong actually started the patronage of this sculpture, but he died, and Empress Wu married his son, Gaozong. And when Gaozong got sick, Empress Wu was positioned to become an empress. All she had to do was suffocate her daughter, kill 2 grandchildren, and exile a son. So bam, she is empress, and what she does to kind of gather people around her to be faithful is she donates to buildings, monasteries, statues that are Buddhist. And it's under her reign that Buddhism is at its peak in China's history. So this central Buddha statue you can see is flanked by bodhisattvas here and by bodhisattvas here. And the question would be, is this Empress Wu? Is this her likeness? And is this representative of her and her court being loyal and stalwart and following her? Okay, in terms of form, there are about 1,400 caves built here, about 800 niches built here. This is a niche where it's kind of a carving in the hillside, and there's where a statue could be placed and protected from the weather a little bit more. And then there are around 100,000 statues of Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. And there are around 3,600 inscribed stone tablets. So a lot of carving and donating here for art. The form, this is Central Buddha, 55 feet high. And you can see this whole expanse here. We are responsible for the 2 purple outlined spaces. So the Central Buddha and 2 Bodhisattvas. But a part of his court are these bodhisattvas and these 2 heavenly kings, they're called. These heavenly kings, they have more forceful poses. Look at them. This is contrapost, so extraordinaire here. They are engaged. They have more animated looks. Look at that. His mouth is open. His eyes look like he's, staring somebody down. They have realistic muscles. Holy cat. Wow. Um, so they are the best examples of carving here at Longmen Caves. Now, the central Buddha and the bodhisattvas, which is true in Buddhism, is that as it moved, the statues became more like the people where the statues were being created. So these are more Chinese looking. They have a square jaw, full cheek, almond eyes, which is more Chinese feature. Their robe is, and you can see their robes here on these bodhisattvas. The robes are flatter, linear. They're stylized like a fish tail, kind of perfected. And this is a Chinese style. And then they have this well, they all do actually. They all have mandorlas, or at least, oh, I can't think of that name. But you can see his mandorla has got these fire flames in it. That's the light of Buddha shining. So here's another Buddha statue, and look at that mandorla with all these fiery flames. This hopefully reminds you of Jesus Christ here on Chartres Cathedral with a full body mandorla. So this is common in religions to highlight the deities or the founders. Now, there are these heavenly kings, and there are two here, these that are guarding their four directions. They guard the temple, the Buddha, and they are considered the best carving. I've already mentioned that. And they're just super common in Buddhist temples. So here are all four of them, these metal statues. So their function, again, is to guard the Buddhist shrine. They guard them from evil spirits. This is the heavenly king, considered he who hears everything. And this icon of a stupa is what we recognize and go, oh, that icon, being held in the hand of that heavenly king means that this heavenly king is the he who hears everything. I couldn't pronounce the Chinese name. And then here is the other heavenly king, and he's got a sword here, and so he is the one is titled he who causes growth. So these four heavenly kings can be identified by their iconography. And the function of the whole Longmen Caves is that it shows Empress Wu's connection to Buddhism. It shows China's connection to Buddhism and trade on the Silk Road among all these countries, spreading all this great culture. And does it mimic her formal court? Question mark. Does it give her legitimacy? Does it give any of these wealthy people who patronize, who pay for these, does it give them legitimacy? And does it give them a quicker path to nirvana? That's a lot of function. Okay, Longmen Caves in Luang, China in the Tang Dynasty, made of limestone.